Medicine Talks. Well, it's been a cold and snowy day here in the north woods of Wisconsin. The ice on the lakes all melted, the birds have been back for a couple of weeks, and we all got tricked thinking that spring was here. But I have a fire in my wood stove and a hot topic for you today: authority problems. This one's been marinating for quite some time. I've got a ton of experience with authority issues, and I want to share with you about it because when I look at the world, I think it all boils down to trust. And so much abuse of power has happened. So many people have been tricked, deceived, and taken advantage of. That trust has been broken, and there's tons of consequences that are surfacing now. Some of the symptoms of authority problems that we all deal with are like self-worth issues and codependency, people-pleasing, validation seeking, issues with consistency, self-sabotage, fear of failure or criticism, addiction, not being enough. Does any of this sound familiar? Yeah. When it comes to freedom and total wellness for the mind, the body, and the spirit, our relationship with authority plays a major role. And this talk is going to be about some ways to level up and empower your inner authority. I'm going to share about my personal journey with all of this, which, like I said, is extensive. I am definitely no expert or authority on authority, nor do I care to be. It's my intention to share this because it's part of my healing journey, to not have it bottled up inside. And if you're able to glean some wisdom from it, all the better. Yeah, and if you're new to the channel, or if you've watched some of my other videos, the Personal Cosmology Part 1 and 2, the music video for the Brand New Ancients, you're going to see a theme of authority issues running through that. Questioning authority, it can be challenging for a number of reasons. I mean, it takes time. It's a little scary. A lot of times authority figures don't like to be questioned. In a sense, we're admitting that we don't know the answers or that we're ignorant, which is scary for people. In a lot of ways, questioning authority brought me tons of freedom in my life. It opened me to new ideas. And in a lot of ways, it also brought me suffering and pain. I think there's a balance that can be had there, and we'll get to that. Yeah, some ways, I mean, really, I can track authority issues back to my birthday, 9/11, 1981, when the doctor came and snipped my foreskin. I think this is a great example of how crazy it is not to question authority. Especially in the United States, circumcision has been like a medical procedure that's been so common, and it's not in the rest of the world. It's unnecessary, and it's downright kind of crazy when you get to thinking about it. Maybe one day we'll look back at this surgery as like something really wild that was passed on, or tradition that was just accepted, and then it wasn't. I remember the Santa Claus deal, like discovering that my dad was old Saint Nick, and how freaking tricked I felt by all of that. Yeah, and then, let's see, school, my biology teacher, Mr. Seberg, rest in peace, teaching Darwinian evolution. I would see him at church, and it always boggled my mind how he could hold both creation and evolution in his mind at the same time. I think I understand that better now. Yeah, going to Sunday school too, I was always the kid that asked the questions that the pastor didn't want to have the answers for. Um, the DARE program in school, I don't remember what that acronym stands for. My uncle said drugs are really excellent. And I think I've came to that same realization as well through my own experimentation. But the DARE program was like, this is your brain. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions? And I had lots of questions. I was a curious youth. You know, that spontaneous curiosity, presence, excitement about the world. My dad would be working on a vehicle, trying to fix an engine, and I'd be underneath there asking him a million questions. Get out of here, kid. You know what I mean? So I feel like my curiosity and my unique authenticity definitely got stifled eventually through my relationship with authority. Because we're taught to fit in. And belonging really has to do with getting to be yourself completely and be accepted for that, and even encouraged and welcomed because of your uniqueness. And I think the world needs more of that, not more of the status quo. Yeah, let's see. In the 90s, we had gangster rap. I mean, Biggie and Tupac, Bone Thugs and Harmony. These were horrible influences on me and fueled my rebellious nature when it came to authority. I got involved with drugs and drinking and crime, shoplifting. I did time in juvie. I learned about the fractional reserve banking way too early. Yeah, my birthday's 9/11, like I said, and I was in college to be a firefighter, and already knew about conspiracy theories and did not believe in what was being shared as far as the official narrative on what happened with the Twin Towers and Building 7. And I dropped out of college. I went down the wrong path with drugs and crime and robbed a bank and went to federal prison, where my issues with authority definitely got worked on for sure. My dad committed suicide. He was my alpha in my life, you know. Very traumatic for me. Living in a community setting with other alpha males, with other role models, older men in my life, I found myself in a place where I was seeking validation or approval from those men, almost as a father figure. And when COVID came, my views on what we should do, how to handle it, what it all meant for the world was not in alignment with the rest of the circle. And trust was broken. And that went both ways. I ended up leaving, which was a really hard decision, to leave this place I love so much and to go out into the wild world and try something new. I've had a lifelong relationship with addiction as well. I have an addictive personality, whether it's been tobacco or cannabis. I think it's a symptom of authority problems. I might have some kind of a hard interaction where I feel disempowered in the conversation, and then go to my crutch to relieve the stress and the anger or whatever didn't get expressed properly, the regret, the shame, the guilt. So these are some of the ways that authority issues showed up in my life. I think I betrayed myself, with choices that weren't in alignment with my true self. I would punish myself with shame and guilt and bad habits like smoking or drinking. Sometimes I would blame others. I stuffed things down really deep and internalized my suffering. I developed a really harsh inner critic because of that, and like a voice in my head that was just telling me that I wasn't good enough. Yeah, I worried a lot about what other people thought of me and what I was doing. And oftentimes I would avoid responsibility as well and stifle my gifts out of a fear of taking up too much space or disappointing people. And through that stifling, I lost trust in myself and in my intuitions, in my instincts, not knowing when to hold them or when to fold them, when to be quiet or when to speak up. This is the time when we need to speak up. We need to be unique. Yeah, I gave away my power, sacrificed my authenticity for fitting in. And I know a lot of you can relate to that. I was longing for belonging. And I think I have it here. I can really be myself here. It's a beautiful thing. I'm stoked. To be back in community is interesting because we have a core group of people here. I'm the youngest out of everybody. Even though I've lived here 7 years, I'm at the bottom of the totem pole. There's something called the socio-sexual hierarchy in regards to males, and it's fascinating. I think living in community is sort of like a social study experiment. I've seen lots of people come here to volunteer, to live with us, or to fill a job opening. And in the male socio-sexual hierarchy, it says that men organize themselves into a natural hierarchy, and the alpha male is on the top. They're the visionary. They have their pick of the litter with the women. They're successful, confident, charismatic. They are open to speaking with everybody and having the greater vision on what needs to be done. They'll have beta males underneath them that are like the lieutenants, their right-hand man. Betas are ultra loyal to the alpha male and foresee all of the duties, and they have an elevated position because of it. They're the most trusted people in the circle, and they deal directly with the deltas, who are the workers. Deltas are happy with working and being a family person, with having a normal life, whatever you want to call that. They're the cogs in the machine that make it run, and they're the most common out of all of the archetypes. Below the deltas are the gamma males. Gamma males are highly intelligent. They can be extremely manipulative. Because of their high level of intelligence, they often think that they have the answers and that the alpha doesn't run the ship correctly and that they should be running it. So there's a jealousy and an envy that they exhibit that comes through in negativity and pessimism and undermining authority. I've seen a lot of women get tricked by gamma males. They can be successful with women. Sometimes women think that a gamma male is an alpha male because of their intelligence. And below the gammas are the omegas. Omegas are the people that don't get the invites to the events. They have a hard time fitting into society. Very low drive, very low success with women. Each one of these levels of this hierarchy can level up and improve. And that's the goal in life, right? To become a better man. Outside of the hierarchy, there's also the sigma male, like the lone wolf. Doesn't always follow along with the rules and the social norms. Typically very adventurous, prides themselves on their freedom, can be very successful with women as well because of their mysterious nature. Anyways, as a man, I think it's incredibly powerful to look at this hierarchy and to see where you fit in, and where you want to go with it, how you relate with other men, what it means for your relationship with women. Women, for you to look at it and to understand the men in your life better, it can be an incredible tool as well. You are typically categorized by your beauty and your fertility and your ability to be a mate, or the value of your family. The socio-sexual hierarchy isn't typically taught in schools, or it's not something you come across. But it's natural, and I don't believe we're all created equal. Some folks are richer, some people are smarter, some people have power and status that's passed down to them through inheritance. It's the way life is. It's not always fair. Some other things that I think help with authority issues, for me, I looked at energy. I mean, when it comes down to power and currency and manipulation and the issues with authority in the world, it really is about energy. There's a book called The Celestine Prophecy, and in it, it describes how lots of the interpersonal dynamics that people experience in relationship deal with fighting over energy. And some people get really intimidating, and some people get really ask a lot of questions, and they want to interrogate people to draw their energy in. On the passive side of the spectrum, some people become aloof and ultra mysterious, and some people play the victim, the poor me. Victim consciousness is so prevalent in our world today. You'll see that a lot. A lot of people want to get your energy by drawing you in like that. In the Celestine Prophecy, it talks about our ability to draw energy from the beauty of nature, from the trees and from the air and the sunshine, and that we don't have to take it from people. It's free for us to harvest and to fill up on, and then we can give more sustainably, and we don't have to feel threatened by confrontation or by other people trying to steal it from us. Then we have the power to stand firm in who we are, and to be balanced. It's an incredible tool for empowerment, I believe. And then there's another book called I'm Okay, You're Okay, which is a book by a doctor who came up with a system called transactional analysis, where also in the instance of interpersonal relationship dynamics, let's say you're having an argument about money with your spouse, and it activates some kind of a inner child-like reaction in them, and their inner child triggers something in you where your inner parent, the dad part of you, like the programming maybe you got from your dad being really tough and intimidating, comes through, and now you have this dynamic of a parent-child like relationship happening, and it happens so much. So the idea is that you can kind of evaluate some of the interactions you have with people, the good ones, the bad ones, and see what was happening there for you. How often do we engage with each other from the adult to adult perspective? Not very often. That's a powerful system. Great book. It's been a big journey for me looking at authority. I think, like if you take a look at my personal cosmology, it's going to be some controversial stances in there. I definitely don't follow the status quo. Like, the heliocentric model of the universe, for instance. People that believe, that the Earth is spinning, which is the great majority of the world, believes that we're on a ball spinning in space, going around the sun, ripping through the solar system, the Milky Way, and then the Milky Way is hurtling through space at astronomical speeds. And a lot of that information is coming from NASA. So NASA becomes the authority. And in my opinion, NASA as an organization has been mind control from the get-go. So in questioning NASA and questioning the solar system and if the Earth is moving and all of these things, well, it's been really challenging. A lot of people, when I brought it up, think I'm crazy, or even worse, they get really mad at me. I think in a way, though, not questioning authority can be the problem sometimes, because it leads to the status quo, or it leads to people being manipulated for power. Like in this very example, if what I'm saying is true, that means that we've been lied to about where we are. And how could we ever know where we're going if we don't know where we are, right? Some other real life examples would be like a auto mechanic, for instance. A lot of people bring their car that's not running right to an auto mechanic because they don't know how to work on vehicles. So the auto mechanic is the expert or the authority on the situation. And you're going to either trust them or you're not, right? And it's really challenging when they tell you just came in for an oil change and they tell you have to have some expensive transmission thing fixed. And it's like, wow, how do you question authority in a healthy way, right? I would recommend curiosity and kindness, and it's okay to ask questions. I know you think they're so busy, and you also don't want to admit that you don't know anything about cars, right? Or that you're ignorant. But it's a big process of growing to be able to ask questions. And that is where I want to bring it back to that curious youth. With all the questions, I think lots of problems in the world are because people think they have all the answers, or because they're so firm in their stance that they're not willing to listen, and that doesn't allow them to be present. Truly being as a question and admitting that we don't have all the answers opens up the whole world in a new light, and it's so beautiful, and it makes things a lot more easy and fun and far less serious. I think that let's see. Also, we live in a society where we really put people on a pedestal, whether it's a spiritual leader or a guru or celebrities. And it's not always fair, because they have problems too. They're not perfect. I got to experience this firsthand a few months ago. I have a teacher and a male role model in my life that I really value and love deeply. Hey, uncle, what up? He's a healer. As a lot of healers experience in their life, they have their own personal work to do. And a dark night of the soul came upon him, and I got to spend a few weeks with him, and he shared his vulnerability with me, his feeling like he doesn't know anything, or everything's up in the air. And I got to watch him use his medicine on himself and to go through this process. And for me, I think I had him on a pedestal in so many ways, and it really allowed me to see him as a human being and to be fair and to, yeah, he got a mess just like I did. And that was enlightening and such a miracle for me to get to witness. Namaste, Uncle. Thank you. If we can do that for our teachers and our community leaders and our authority, we can respect it, we can honor it, and we can also see our own inner authority, which is incredible. My life here teaching drum is beautiful, and I want to give a big thanks to Tamarack for his vision here. And he reminded me recently of the Hopi prophecies, of how we're the ones we're waiting for, and how the time of the lone wolf is coming to an end, and how we don't have to look outside ourselves for leaders. It was really beautiful to revisit the Hopi prophecy. And this is a time right now where it's so important for us to get to have a better relationship with authority. I don't think it's a time for anarchy or for dismantling everything that's already been built. It's a time for relating with each other and for stepping into our own uniqueness and to share it with the world. To feel empowered and to feel curious and excited about life, because it's an amazing time to be alive, as wild as the world is. I know it can be scary, but you're not alone. All right. I hope that was interesting, maybe even helpful. I felt it necessary to talk about this topic as well as the prior discussions as some characterization and a foundation for what I want to share. The next video, I'm going to start getting into the medicine work. Not that this isn't medicine, but I want to talk about the toad medicine, about 5-MeO, my experience with that amazing creature down in the Sonoran Desert. I've got incredible footage, video, and pictures. I'm going to put a presentation together that incorporates that extra media so that you'll all be able to get to experience my relationship with the toads, what I learned by sharing the medicine with people all over the country, and some of my personal experiences with non-duality through my journeys with that entheogen, and why I decided to stop being a medicine practitioner and what's next for me. So I'm really excited to get to share that with the world, and you're going to get to see it first. So until then, be wild.